This episode of Real Trail Talk is brought to you by Green Door Vineyard and Winery, located in the picturesque Ferguson Valley. As a special offer for Real Trail Talk listeners, if you use the promo code TRAILTALK, all one word, you will receive 10% off your first order. You can make your online order at greendoorwines.com.au. Hi, and welcome to Real Trail Talk. I am Donovan D'Souza from The Long Ways Better.
And I'm Mark Pybus from The Life of Pi. Welcome to episode 74. We have Dave Osborne returning, who is the President of HikeWest and is the organiser of the WA Hiking Expo, which is on the 2nd of May this year. Fingers crossed, no more COVID outbreaks. So welcome, Dave. Thanks for coming in again.
Thanks very much for having me. It's a great opportunity to talk about the Expo. Thanks very much.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with Dave Osborne got his President of HikeWest hat on instead of Walk GPS. Just want to give the listeners who maybe don't know about HikeWest a run through of what the organisation is about and also their objectives.
Right, well, HikeWest, a lot of people probably remember it as what once was called the Federation of WA Bushwalkers. So several years ago it used to just represent the bushwalking clubs. But in 2015 we decided to broaden the constitution so that we'd represent more fully sort of bushwalkers right across the community basically. So HikeWest is the peak body for bushwalking in WA with a mission of promoting and fostering bushwalking.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And if you haven't followed the Facebook page, go check that out. And there is a website as well to let you know about events and clubs and everything.
Right, except for the Facebook page being down at the moment. we'll get over that one.
You're a news organisation, I guess.
Yeah, well, we should be flattered probably that it's been taken down. You know, we're obviously getting wide coverage. So.
That's good.
Yeah, and I feel that pain.
So,
I was going to say, full disclosure, that Mark is a member of the...
I'm an executive director of the HikeWest board.
Yes.
right.
Okay. So just with the Hiking Expo, could you give us just, the basic information about what is it, when is it happening, the location, the time, all the sort of basic facts?
Okay. Well, the timing is 2nd of May, Sunday the 2nd of May, and the choice of that timing early into autumn, I guess, was really to be clear of the school holidays, which ends the week before, and then Mother's Day the following week. So we thought that Sunday was the perfect day that people might be able to actually show up.
Excellent.
So that was the reason for the timing, and being early autumn, it's sort of at the start of bushwalking season, so the idea is to get people up there in the hills, and if they enjoy their bushwalk, then they can go off and join a club and get in some walking in the coming season, rather than having an event at the other end when just before summer and they do a nice walk and then drop right out and forget about it.
Yeah, sure.
So that was the reason for the timing. And the location of it is up in the Perth Hills Discovery Centre, which probably a lot of people will know, up near Mundaring Weir there, managed by DBCA Parks and Wildlife, and it's just within Beeloo National Park, so it's a lovely location. And we thought that would be an ideal venue because it's got all the local bushwalking trails. The Bibbulmun track runs right through the middle, basically the centre, and there's lots of other little loop trails that we can tie into for some guided walks during the expo. So
yeah, it's a beautiful piece of Mundaring as well, and lots of space. There's that big car park, the buildings there, so I think it'll be a really good event.
Yeah.
And perfect time of year as well, autumn. The weather's starting to cool down. A lot of the walks are, especially that forest, it's not really spring dependent, so yeah.
And May is sort of, reliably good in terms of bushwalking weather. It might be a bit rainy sometimes.
Well, we did look into that, and touch wood, for about the last 10 years there hasn't been any rain on 2nd of May. So, sod's law, it'll probably turn out to be pouring, but
I think now
it actually is a good weather window generally around that time. So, and a bit of rain really won't hurt us. Most of the exhibitors will have marquees, and the guided walks area. The people will be getting together under cover there anyway, so if there's a bit of rain, it won't worry us, I think.
Yeah, as long as it's not the 19th of May, because it's my birthday, and
right.
It always rains on my birthday.
We especially kept clear of your birthday, Donovan. We hope to see you there. No, it's a good venue though. Probably it's a fairly small venue. You know, we could have gone for something larger ideally, but you can't have it all. You know, for example, John Forrest National Park. There, you've got visitors would have had to pay the park fee to get in there for a start.
Yeah,
we don't have that up where we are, and it's just got a good sort of venue ground. The ground areas up there are very good for setting up marquees and so on.
Yeah.
The main issue is probably parking, and there you've got sort of satellite parking like at Frank Jacobi Park up the road, off Mundaring Weir Road, so people can park there, and then we're going to put on a shuttle bus, so they can actually travel down the shuttle bus to get to if the main car park gets filled up. They can
they could just hike in.
Or you can hike in for 1 kilometre. Yeah, you know, find out what a 1 kilometre walk's like.
So the expo, what was the kind of like the genesis of this idea and wanting to put this on for everyone? And also, who is it aimed at? Is it experienced walkers? Is it new walkers? Is it people who are just curious about getting into bushwalking?
Well, for a start, it seems something that HikeWest was probably best placed of any organisation to do, you know, just by the objects of the organisation, which is really to foster, promote, as I said before, bushwalking, and to help encourage new opportunities and so on for bushwalking, and to increase participation, that sort of thing. So it seemed like it was should be one of our core roles to do this sort of thing. And I guess in some ways as an organisation we've been looking to do something like this for quite some time.
Yeah.
And if it works, we'd be doing it hopefully year after year, you know. So no problem finding a reason to do it.
Yeah.
So really it's a wide demographic, if you like, family groups. We've got guided walks on that'll suit children over 6 years old, you know, the local 1 kilometre walk down to the Weir View, local circuit walk. And then, of course, we've got the harder walks, 9 kilometre walk down around the South Ledge area, down below the dam. And that gives more of a challenge for people who are ready to do something a bit more, you know, take on a bit more adventure, if you like. So, yeah, and that'll appeal to probably older people. And we hope to get even the seniors along, typical bushwalking club demographic in a way.
Yep.
So it'll be the full gamut. And there'll be activities at the expo for kids as well. So we're certainly trying to appeal to all ages, basically.
Because you do get on the Facebook group, so a lot of people asking, where can I go for walks with people? They're not quite sure how to start or where to start. So I think it'll be good for that type of demographic to come in and see what it's all about.
That's part of the motivation, you know, and that's another reason for that venue too. If you can get people up to the hills that once, and they find out that the 50 kilometre drive from Perth is not so bad after all. Yeah. It only takes an hour at the most.
And there's a
then you've overcome the first big hurdle to participation. You know, they find out, well, heck, there's lovely bushwalking up there, and we got up there pretty easily.
Yeah.
Then we've achieved something with the expo just by doing that. Whereas if we thought, you know, we might have something in Kings Park or something, which actually you can't do because you can't do anything promotional in Kings Park anyway. But really you have to ask yourself, what would you achieve? You know, you just show people that they can get out and walk, but you don't really introduce them to the sort of opportunities that you've got up in the hills there.
And because it's a fairly common question, dogs are not allowed?
Dogs, that's written specifically on the homepage of the...
Yes.
You've noticed, yeah. Dogs.
Just because it's something everyone always asks, can I bring my dog? And no.
It's a good... Yeah. And it's quite restrictive where you can take dogs, actually, when it comes down to around Perth, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Whiteman Park's one where they're allowed, but...
You'd be surprised, though. I finished a hike at the Perth Hills Discovery Centre and taking my shoes off in the back of my car, and I've seen 3 cars rock up with their dogs.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, people just think they can go wherever they want.
Yeah.
Not to be, though.
No.
So, so the venue up there, that's DBCA has provided that for us, which was a big kick along for the expo really, because not having to pay a substantial a venue fee for a start, and then Sport and Rec is come in with quite a bit of support financially too. That's given us our core support to get the thing going as well. So
Excellent.
That's excellent.
yeah.
So once people are there, what kind of activities can they get up to? Now, you mentioned some walks, some short walks, some longer walks, but what's the sort of smorgasbord of options for the people?
So, well, firstly for the walks, you're right. There's a whole spectrum there. We're deliberately going for the really short one down to the Weir, and then there's a longer 9-kilometre walk down below the Weir, and a couple of social trail runs as well. A walk out to the Bibbulmun, one of the Bibbulmun campsites, the Bull Creek campsite, so that gives people a chance to have a look at what a typical Bibbulmun track campsite looks like. That's on the walking side, and then around the expo itself, it's really shaping up well, the range of exhibitors and so on. We've got a kids nature club coming along to, I think they're calling it the Beastie Show, something like that, where they're going to have giant stick insects from Queensland and so on, so the kids in contact with the insects. So that's something for the kids. And then we're also having, is it Kanyana? Kanyana, the wildlife refuge, bringing some animals into the animal contact area up there. So probably limited to a couple of hours, because one of the other attractions is we're having the mucky duck bush band come in for an hour and a half. So bush band and the animals probably don't go particularly well together. So we've got to work the timing on that quite carefully. So the animals will come in and then disappear just before the bush band starts up. So those are those activities. We've got a welcome to country, of course, as well. That'll be right near the start. We've got about 4 at the moment, 4 guided walk operators. So that on the commercial side, we've got 3 bushwalking clubs taking up marquees as well. 2 of the bigger clubs, and Perth Bushwalkers Club and WA. Western Walking Club, and also the WA Family Bushwalking Club. So there are 3 good clubs in there. Another good one that we've got is the First Hike group, which is a great not-for-profit set up to introduce young refugees to get them outdoors and overcome probably their fears of a very strange, different environment, and also to sort of put aside some of the issues they've come away from in some of the countries they've escaped from, basically. So that's great to have them there, and that's one of the things we're trying to do is encourage some of the not-for-profits to come in and use it as an opportunity to get their message out there and let people know they exist. Another one signed up is the Save Our Jarrah group from Dwelling Up Jarradale, so they'll have a joint marquee down there, probably to talk mainly about the impacts of bauxite mining around their areas, which are pretty substantial.
And we've also got some commercial groups coming in just in case you arrive and you're not sure about what to do when you go hiking and what gear you need. They'll be there to provide support and obviously showcase a bit of what hiking gear is all about.
Yeah, that's exactly. We've got about four different commercial gear operators at the moment. They'll all be putting on exhibitions of gear and so on. And I'd have to mention, say, Complete Angler and Camping World's come in as a significant sponsor for us as well, which is great to have them on board. There'll also be Go Camping there and Paddy Pellin, Wilderness Equipment. I think that's all the providers. It's a great opportunity for people to get an idea of what gear's around. The other person, a group will be talking about gear, of course, is Bibbulmun Track Foundation. Okay. And so they'll have a marquee. In fact, they'll have a double marquee up there. So they're going to be also including sessions on how to pack your backpack and so on. So that's a good one to have up there as well.
I hope we get Steve up there.
Yes, Steve Surdis will be an expert on that, I would imagine.
And food and drink.
And drink, there'll be. Have to mention Rotary Club of Mundaring are doing going to be helping us in a big way with bringing their experience on events, helping us with traffic management and so on. But also they've got a food van, so they'll bring in their food van as well.
Excellent.
And on top of that, we'll have a couple of separate smaller coffee and food vans as well. So there'll be plenty of food up there, plenty of food and drinks. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Great.
Speaking of food and drink, better get into our wine sponsor for the evening.
Yes.
Thank you to Green Door Wines again for this is our final sponsored episode. So yeah.
Yep. And we saved the best for last.
We did. What wine are we drinking tonight, Donovan?
So we are drinking the 2019 Spanish Steps GSM. So the GSM is a Grenache Shiraz, and they say Monastrell, which is also known as Mourvèdre. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm sure that with more of a strong French accent. It is the wine of the wine blend of the Rhône region, Châteauneuf-du-Pape, which is quite a famous area, is a GSM. And so this, the three grapes have different strengths, and they sort of all together create, a really rich tapestry of flavors. And we've had their Grenache with the straight Amphora Grenache a few episodes back. And this has got a little bit more bite to it from the Shiraz and the Mourvèdre, which are much more tannic. But what do you think, Mark? Yeah,
I think having the Grenache, which is kind of it's lightened up the Shiraz a lot and kind of made it into a more of a medium-bodied wine. I think, I mean, they do a lot of these really nice, intricate, delicate, like medium-body wines that are really drinkable, most of the year, and just when you want to step into the very heart of winter, which in Perth doesn't last very long. These kind of wines are perfect for the in-betweens.
I think this is the one that I'm going to do an order, and I'm going to get some of these because I think this is my favorite of the lot.
I think we definitely saved the best for last.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Dave? I don't know about the bite, but it's very smooth. Very smooth.
And so if you do want to order some of these wines, if you hop onto the website and do an online order, and if you use the code TrailTalk, all one word, you can get 10% off your first order. So that's TrailTalk, all one word, and that's for online orders from the Green Door website.
And thank you to Green Door Wines for sponsoring us for 4 episodes.
Yeah, thank you very much. This has been fantastic.
You lucky people.
Okay, so moving back to the Hiking Expo. So this wasn't supposed to be the first year. You had planned to do it last year, and obviously COVID put a bit of a spanner in the works. How far along was the planning for that when it got cancelled, and what changes have been made for what is been planned now compared to 2020?
Happily, we were in some ways happily, we were quite a ways along about where we are to now, and it was about this time, just a little bit later, of course, that COVID shut us down. Obviously, out of that, one of the big changes this year is we've got to do a COVID plan, which is about a 9 to 10 page document to add to all the other approvals and things we had to get through DBCA and so on. So that was one change. What were the others? We've had a chance to do more on the website. So we were planning last year to have participants on the guided walks to be able to register online. It would have been a scramble, quite frankly, to get that up in time for the expo last year, but it's all ready to go now. So we're going to actually put that live next week. So anybody listening to this should, if they're interested in getting on one of the walks, and there's about 18 walks and a couple of trail runs, then probably wise to get in early. We've very much modelled this expo on what they've done in South Australia for several years now, very successfully, and they've in fact found with their guided walks that they're all booked up before the actual expo day. So that's what we're actually hoping to do, because of course it makes it so much more streamlined on the day rather than having people form massive queues to get on their favourite walk, and we want to try and avoid that if possible. So we've got the pay online facility and everything set up, and we'll probably push the button on that next week, and just hopefully they stream in just like the exhibitors have.
Which should be live when this episode goes live.
So that was one couple of changes there, and then the other big thing really, it's given us more time to get some more funding on board, because despite the fact that we've got majority of the funding through Sport and Rec on basically a contract for service really, so it's not a pure grant, but we have to deliver the product, be accountable for it, So we have to collect feedback at the end.
So do you think this has probably been a help or a hindrance for having a year's delay in the expo?
I'd have to say it's probably inevitably helped us. We've just got a little bit more time. Last time round, we were really scrambling there. We took the initiative to do the expo in about late November in 2019, and that's a very short time frame to try and get a whole expo up and running, given the sort of approvals you've got to go through. We've got to get a traffic management plan, for example, that's got to go through the Shire. It takes at least a few weeks to get that traffic management drafted up, and then probably at least another 3 weeks to get it through the Shire.
Yeah.
And you've got to get local consents from the local residents and so on, or land occupiers.
Yep.
It all takes time.
Yeah.
So we're in much better shape this year, really.
And you were mentioning South Australia as being modelled on their hiking expo. Have you spoken to people there? Were they, or was it just more observing the way they did it?
Yeah, early on. No, we've spoken early on, and one of the characters who's going to be helping us actually with some of the marquee setups and so on. He's had experience he was an exhibitor over on the South Australian Expo, so he's got a fair idea how it worked for them. On top of that, apart from South Australian Expo, HikeWest has now been involved in our own having a site at the Hyde Park Fair, for example, and the Have a Go Day, which are a good way of building up some knowledge of, just how to go about it.
Yeah.
From the exhibitor end of it, but it gives you an idea also of what's what constraints and so on, guidelines you need to put on the exhibitors. So I think we've built up a bit of experience now on how to do it. The real crunch now is to get the helpers that we need for the actual day itself, and I've no doubts we'll get plenty of helpers by the time the date comes, but that's still the anxiety at this point, just making sure you can flush them all out, because there's all sorts. We've got to have COVID marshals, we've got to have traffic parking marshals, we've got to have obviously people attending the guided walks area, and just general helpers around the site as well. So it's quite a few hands on deck needed on the day.
Yeah. Now, skipping forward, let's just say it's June 2021. We've had the expo. It's all gone very well. What would you like to see in the future for this, given that this is year one or year 1.5? Would you like to see it bigger, held anywhere else? What was kind of the future for the hiking expo?
That's the big question, isn't it? Until we get the feedback from this one, really, and see how it goes, you can't, I think the way things are going at the moment, it should be a big success. It will be a big success. We've got a good range of exhibitors there. We've got the clubs have come in to host, and the trail runners to host 18 guided hike activities. So all the ingredients are there. It's just the next step is to get the people to turn up on the day, of course. And that will be the test to see if they do come up from Perth. I think they will, because for other events at John Forest and so on, they seem to turn up on the day, so shouldn't be a worry. But yeah, it will be a matter of collecting feedback and seeing how it goes on the day, and then fine tuning it, and hopefully it will become an annual event if it goes well. That's the way I see it. We've just got to get the feedback, basically.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent concept, because it's a celebration of hiking, and it's kind of a lot of people these days. There's a hiking community online, but they may not necessarily meet. So if the main people who hike and whatnot meet in this one area, I think it'll be a good thing to just have a celebration of what we enjoy.
Definitely, because I feel like while there are the clubs, there are a lot of sort of solo individual hikers who this might be their first time going to an event where there are other people. Or there might be people who are first timers who just don't know anything about hiking.
Yep.
As you say, they may think that Mundaring's really far, but it's not far at all.
No.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully that's what it'll achieve. A lot of people will get up there and just find out how they can get into groups, whether it's bushwalking club or a commercial guided group. It doesn't matter to us, really. That's, as I say, where HikeWest has tried to come from. Although we obviously look after our member clubs. And one angle there is insurances is a big thing that people used to think that's all we did was insurances for the bushwalking clubs. But that's part of broadening out. So we're trying to look at the needs right across the community. So if people don't see the club as their natural environment, if they want to just go off and do a guided walk, for example, that's fine, So this is an opportunity for them, the public, to come up and see the different sort of opportunities to participate. Yeah, and then to realise that there's all these walking opportunities, especially up there, so close to Perth. And it's not just Eagles View Trail and John Forrest National Park.
That's right.
And the beauty of that area, one thing that we've sort of highlighted through this, we've got 6 different walk routes, and they're all they're not existing circuit walks. They're all combinations of different trails. So one goes out on the Bibbulmun track and comes back on the old Catamurta track. That's a combination that hasn't been used much, but it works really well. That's a 9-kilometre walk. And then there's other walks that tie in the O'Connor Trail and the Portagabra Trail.
Don't think we can call it the old Catamurta anymore, because it's recently
it's
been resized.
Thanks to the trail runners, basically, Friends of Catamurta have done it up, and that's great. Because it's a nice trail, that one, and it's. I guess the issue was it's a through trail, so it's had from bushwalkers' point of view, it's had that problem as a day walk. You can't really do it unless you do a big car shuffle.
And it's a bit longer than a lot of people would do.
Exactly, about 22 kilometres, isn't it? I think so.
34.
Was it? Oh, right. But it's got some lovely section. Getting off the subject, it is a nice walk, and the section through the Helena Valley there below the dam is really nice,
I think Mundaring's is one of those spots that once you've been, it's kind of, you remember it forever and you want to keep going out there and spending more time. And it's great to see it from different perspectives, which is what the walks give you. You can go to the lookout, or you can go to the Weir lookout. There's the dam wall, or just the forests around there are just fantastic.
Yeah, and then the Bibbulmun track campsite, so it's all there basically. And the Mundaring Weir itself, even though it's sort of a cultural, it's not typical, probably bushwalking territory if you like, but it's a really nice sort of attraction in its own right, isn't it?
Yeah,
and then for people to see the museum down below, some of the walk routes come back past the old pumping station number 1 museum, or O'Connor Museum. And that's a nice one to drop into, if not on the day, at another time. So,
It's certainly one of the prettiest dams in WA. It's not as utilitarian as some of the others.
Yeah, not the real Soviet concrete look.
Yeah.
So, and being a dam, I'd have to say, maybe near last point, but that was one of the issues, because it is a dam, and it's in the some of these walks are on just within the water catchment. So, of course, we did have to go through the approvals through Water Corp for that, and happily they've come back and said, yes, the events can go ahead.
Yeah.
And, of course, we're on existing trails, which helps.
Yeah.
But it's one reason also we're keeping numbers down on some of the activities, so you can't have more than, say, it'd be about 16 or 17 on an individual activity, because they've got limits on that sort of thing. So, yeah.
All right, so WA Hiking Expo, 2nd of May, which is a Sunday. If you want more information, the website is wahikingexpo.com.au, and we'll link that on our Facebook page. So we encourage you to go and visit that, check it out, book yourself into a guided walk if you're not too late. And Donovan and I will be floating around on the day, so we hope to see everyone there. Yeah,
just have a look at that. When you go to that website, have a look at the Who's There page, and that'll give you a good idea of the range of activities as well.
Yep.
And check it day by day, because it's growing all the time. So, yeah.
Excellent. And thanks for coming on, Dave, to let us know about the Hiking Expo, and also thanks for your hard work in getting this off the ground, and looking forward to visiting this year, and hopefully it's a tradition that continues on throughout the years.
Right. Yeah, and it'll only get easier too. It's easier. it's easier this year than last year, and next year that's why once you've got the foundation there, I think it's so much easier.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode or any other episode of Real Trail Talk, then please rate us on whatever platform you're currently listening to us on. Ratings really help us to reach an audience, especially those who are looking to learn about the outdoors in Western Australia and Australia in general. If you had any questions or suggestions for future episodes, you can email us at realtrailtalk@gmail.com or contact us through our social media channels. Thanks again, and stay tuned for our next episode.